Hi guys, today we're going to make some veggie stock in the Thermomix. It's going to be a great alternative to the next recipe, which is a gravy. If you are a vegan or vegetarian, you can switch this out into the next recipe. First goes in some celery, just chopped into some chunks, and some carrots. You can use any vegetables you like here. I'm actually having a clean up of my fridge today, in with some onion. And I've just got a tomato there, just a whole tomato cut in quarters. But again, you can just use any vegetables you like. It's actually asking for some zucchini, but I've got a bit of cabbage there that I want to use up, so I'm just going to throw that in there. Next, so 2 garlic cloves. And next, dried bay leaf. And I'm just popping in there some old parsley that I wanted to use up. It is asking for basil, but I didn't have any. And some rosemary. Don't be afraid to use dried herbs if you can't get fresh. They work perfectly okay here. And next. And it's calling for parsley now. I actually already did put parsley in there, so I'm actually just going to add some spring onions that I had that I wanted to use up. So all that goes in together, and it's going to take 10 seconds to mince all those things into a paste. Speed 6, and we'll have a look at what that looks like. And I'll just take off the lid, and there it is. That's what the paste looks like. That took 10 seconds to make. So I've actually just got a few more veg that I came across, a bit of capsicum and half of a small cauliflower. So I'm just making that into florets and popping them in there, and I'm just going to give that another mix. May as well use them up while I'm making stock. And I'm just going to dial that up to about 20 seconds on speed 6, and then we'll have a look. So just taking off the lid, and there you are. So it's all minced up, and I just incorporated those extra veggies. So I'll just pop that jug back on, and now it's calling for 150 grams of rock salt. It is quite a lot of salt, but remembering this is about flavouring dishes and preserving those vegetables, so it's needed. A tablespoon of olive oil goes in. I usually just do one loop around the bowl. About a tablespoon or close enough. And next, popping on the lid with the measuring cup, and that's it. That's going to take 20 minutes to cook on speed 1, and your veggie stock is done. So how easy is that? That forms the base for so many recipes, and you can make veggie stocks, meat stocks, any stock you like, tomato paste, all kinds of stuff. I'm just going to take that away now and pop it into an airtight container. I just use a container like this from Tupperware. It's just a basic container with a sealing lid, and I just have a label on it, vegetable stock. Just pop it in hot and just let it go cold on the bench. Don't pop the lid on until it's nice and cold or room temperature, because you need the heat to escape or it will go yucky in the fridge. Now we're going to make that gravy we were talking about for our roast. So the first step is some red wine. You don't have to put red wine in there if you're opposed to it, but we like it. And just popping the lid on without the measuring cup, and that's just going to take 30 seconds to cook out the alcohol. Coming back to the next step, I'm just lifting off the lid and adding in there some butter. So if this was going to be a vegan version, just swap this part out for some Nuttelex, and it will work just fine. In go some onions, a garlic clove. I'm actually using minced garlic here. I ran out of cloves, so just the minced garlic in a jar. You can also make that in Thermomix, your own minced garlic. It's asking for some thyme, some fresh thyme. I didn't have any, so I'm just using some dried thyme. Next, back on with the lid and the measuring cup. So that's going to mince all those spices together. Measuring cup back on. And that's going to take 5 seconds on speed 5 to blend everything together and chop up those onions for us. So I'm just going to take off the lid and I'll show you what that looks like. So it's basically like a paste with all the onions minced up in there. And I'll just go next. So it wants me to pop on the lid without the measuring cup for 10 minutes. I've just stopped the machine there. I did take the measuring cup out, but I've last minute decided to do some steamed beans, which is easy to do while you're making your gravy. So you can have your meal cooking on the bottom and vegetable steaming up on top if you wish. This is a good way to extend meals out and reduce your dishes just by piling up vegetables up on top while you're cooking. And I'll just pop on the lid and I'm just going to go back and start that step again and cook that for 10 minutes with those beans in there. I'll steam those and then I'll cut those up and show you what I did with them at the end of this video. Just taking the beans off and just checking if they're cooked. And yep, I'm happy with those. That's what they look like. So I'll go and cut those up while the Thermomix does the next step in our gravy. So next it's calling for some plain flour, and that's going to thicken up the gravy for us. So just 30 grams of plain flour. Next, and popping on the lid again with the measuring cup inside this time. And that's going to make a roux. So that's going to incorporate the fats and the flavours with the flour and be the base thickener for our gravy. That takes 10 seconds on speed 4. Next, scraping down the bowl. So just making sure all those ingredients are off the side of the bowl there. And that's what it looks like. Popping the jug back on. And now it's calling for 500 grams of water. So just using those inbuilt scales to measure that water out. So there's no need for any measuring cups or anything like that. In it goes 500 grams. Next, now here it's asking for meat stock. So we are using meat stock in this gravy tonight, but this is where you would switch it out for the vegetable stock we made earlier if you were wanting to make this vegetarian or vegan. And it's absolutely beautiful either way. In with some tamari sauce and Worcestershire sauce. I never measure anything. It is asking for a teaspoon, so I give a little drizzle for a teaspoon or a big drizzle for a tablespoon. I'm not much of a measurer. Some seasoning now, black pepper. In it goes. And that's the last ingredient for our gravy. It is calling for some unamami paste, but I didn't have any. I'll show you how to make that on another video. Next, that's it, lid on and 10 minutes to cook, and we'll come back and see what it looks like. So back again, and now you can see those beans that I've been and chopped up into smaller pieces and topped and tailed them. There's the gravy. Now it is a bit thin for my liking. I do prefer it a bit thicker, which is okay, because I can come back now and show you how to use the thickening mode on Thermomix to fix any sauces you might come across that are a little bit thin it's really simple to use a thickening mode. And I'm just putting in 2 good teaspoons of corn flour to thicken up that sauce. And I'm just going to use a thickening mode, and I just find it by swiping to the left, and on the bottom right is the thickening mode. Popping the lid on, and that's simply going to stir and thicken that sauce for us, and it takes 12 minutes. So let's have a look at it now, because that's all done. And yeah, it's much better. I'm much happier with that. I know you can't see it very well inside the bowl, so I'm just going to pop it in a glass jug so you can have a better look at it. There it is. It's still a reasonably thin gravy, but I'm happy with that now that it's been thickened up a little bit with the corn flour. It will thicken on standing also. Yep, happy with that. Now I'm going to show you what I did with the beans. I just popped in some butter into the Thermomix, clean the bowl of course, and some sweet chili sauce that my son makes is absolutely delicious. So putting in a few splashes of that and a little bit of olive oil, and I'm just going to melt those things together with a little bit of seasoning. And then I'm going to pop the beans in, and Thermomix will stir them around for me and put that beautiful chili sauce all over the beans. So I'm just going to melt that for 30 seconds on 60 degrees, just to make sure that butter's melted, on a slow speed too. And I'm just checking if it's all melted, and yes it is. And then now I'm just going to pop in the beans, and we'll use the warm-up mode to warm those beans up. So the warm-up mode is there, and that basically is going to heat those beans up to the temperature you would like. So I'm going to heat them up to about 70 degrees and turn the dial, and the Thermomix will just continue to warm those through and stir them gently until it reaches 70 degrees for us. And there it is, all plated up. Beautiful roast pork tonight with our gravy and sweet chili beans and some other veggies. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I am a demonstrator for Thermomix, so I'm happy to do demonstrations for you if you would like one. If you have no interest in a demonstration, you are welcome to make purchase of Thermomix from the link in my description bar, and regardless of which way you'd like to purchase Thermomix, you will always get ongoing support with whatever you might need to learn how to use your machine. Feel free to follow me on Facebook or Instagram. Hit like on the video would really be helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more videos about Thermomix and Thermomix related content. Hit the notification bell to make sure you're getting notified. And thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day.